the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission for the meeting of April 21st, 2025. Meetings are broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6, and AT&T U-verse, Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live in high definition on the city's webpage at glendaleca.gov/live or on YouTube at youtube.com/myglendale and on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, iOS, and Android devices using a free app called Cablecast and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Alcazar?
Here.
Arakelian's absent. Kalfayan?
Here.
Student Commissioner ex officio Barati?
Here.
Weimer?
Here.
And President Sardarbagian.
Here. Next item.
Next item is the reporting clerk posting of the agenda. The agenda for April 25th special meeting was posted outside of City Hall and the bulletin board on or before Friday, April 18th, 2025. Item 2, upcoming council agenda items.
President Sardarbagian, members of the commission, we have two items coming up next month. One is April 29th, approval of proposed subrecipient funding for Emergency Solutions Grant Rapid Unsheltered Survivor. It's a rush program funds that were allocated to us right after both Pacific Palisades and in wildfire. On May 6th, we have the approval of the senior needs assessment. And second item is approval of fiscal year 2024-2025 Homeless Initiative Measure H subrecipient funding recommendations.
Thank you.
Item 3, commission staff comments.
Maybe I could start then. So I know my fellow ex officio commissioner has something that he wanted to pull up as well. But while we wait for that, I wanted to ask staff about something that I saw in the paper about the Mountain Oaks property that was recently obtained in partnership with the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. And I was just wondering, it's an amazing feat that we were able to accomplish to, preserve that land, and it sounds like it's going to be, sort of a nature preserve project. Was there anything else that we had planned for that site, whether that be, allowing or creating a trail there or allowing visitation there of sort? I just wanted to ask.
Great question. President Sardarbagian, members of the commission, that property was purchased and is owned by the Mountains Recreation Conservation Agency or the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. So that property was owned by a private group, and they were submitted plans, I believe, about 10, 15 years ago to develop the property. And basically the Mountains Conservancy, as well as Supervisor Barger, as well as Adam Schiff, they came together and funded the purchase of the property for to have the Mountains Conservancy operate that open space area. As of now, there are no plans to develop it, but in the long term, they will like to possibly build trails and have some open space activities there. But for now, it's just going to be preserved as open space where people can, hang out, walk around, and enjoy nature.
Okay, great.
Sure.
That's great. I wasn't sure too if there was going to be like a celebration or something that would accompany it, but maybe in the near future it will, be developed and be more inviting for people to come. I also wanted to ask, I think it was raised by our previous Commissioner Wolfson in a previous meeting about everything that's happening at the federal level. I know in addition to sort of the staff changes and cuts that are happening, there also are potential budget cuts to federal programs that are being discussed. I think at the federal level, the budgets are not finalized yet, but do we anticipate any impact on any of our programs especially because I know that, that we have the homeless services programs, a lot of social services that come out of our department.
Great question again. Depending on what's cut, as of now, the CDBG program is fully funded for next fiscal year, as well as our workforce development funds and homeless services funds. I know that budget has been approved till September, I believe, September or October of this year, right? 2025. So we should be okay till then. But I do want to mention that we do have a few vacant positions with our workforce development department. And right now, those positions are put on hold until we see how much we're going to be funded for the next fiscal year. But those positions are on hold. We don't want to fill the positions until we figure out if there's going to be a loss of revenue to Glendale.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm just wanted to, see, maybe get an update and continue to be updated, especially if there's an opportunity for us to advocate with, other cities or just legislative advocacy opportunities with our other, other representatives to do something because this can ultimately impact a lot of our budget for some of the programs that we do, right? And I would hate to lose money in those programs, so.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we have been, we did submit a letter through to the National Community Development Association so they can advocate for us to keep our funds, our entitlement funds as well as grant funds that we've applied for to provide the same services.
That's great, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here with the presentation, very brief, that I want to share with you guys regarding our at Vertigo Park, the trail that's neighboring it, that's towards the mountain. So recently I had gone to Vertigo Park on the trail and I had been walking there along the trail and I noticed that there are many trees and sticks like broken from the actual trees. So I noticed that many had been left behind, and I'm sure that this was from the windstorm. And I'm sure that our department is handling them case by case, one by one on the parks. But I would just like to address them due to the fact that my house had recently been, I had received a letter that my house is in a very high fire hazard zone. And what this means is that the city fire department is enforcing checks on property lines regarding broken trees, broken bushes, and anything that could be a fire hazard. And I noticed that with the city enforcing that on the homeowners' properties, I think that we should go and enforce it on our parks as well to make sure that our parks are also fire safe. And we should start by looking at the broken trees that have been left behind from the windstorm. So moving to the presentation, we see here the first slide is an image of where the trail begins, and this is coming down Sunshine Drive. And the park begins here after the stop sign. And this is the trail entrance to the trail that I'm referring to. So we begin with the first tree. This tree is, you could say, regarding the letter, it's about 100 feet the property line of the homeowner. And there's a home that exists right next to the park here at the trail. So this tree, I believe that it's the city's property, that due to the fact that it's right next to the trail, I don't think that it complies with the 100 feet regulation that was stated in the letter. But this should be addressed just so we can have this cleaned up. And many of the following slides are just these broken trees. These, I'm sure that our department can handle this efficiently, just that we can address this quickly, that these inspections have begun starting April 1st, and that we should also set an example for others that are walking. Again, here, same thing, we have trees that need cleaning. These images follow in order of if you're entering the trail from the first slide, you would see these trees in order. Continuing, this is next to our recreation center that the park has here. This one is much more difficult compared to the previous ones that have been fallen over. And this is also same thing. We have a tree. This sign is reading that is a fire zone. This is not, I believe that this is the property of the city itself or the mountain agency, and I don't think it belongs to the park, but I'm sure that we could also have that area cleaned up as well as the sign reads. Continuing, we have another tree. This is one that I would like to see cleaned up sooner compared to the rest, because this one is where cars pass and go, and this is an area that is more hazardous compared to the ones that are on the trail. And I believe this is the last picture. This goes onto the mountain towards the properties above the mountain. So my conclusion for this slideshow is just that our department could have these trees cleaned up soon, that it would comply with the letters that are being sent to homeowners.
Go ahead.
Thank you, President Sardarian, members of the commission, Youth Officio Barati. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We do have a number of open space sites that our staff and Glendale Youth Alliance go and maintain. And this is this is on our list of things to do. We'll get to it within the required time frame that the fire department has posted on the sheet on your letter. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right, I'd like to, assess a comment about the updates to Fremont Park as well as Pacific Park. I had reached out to the project manager, Arthur Asturian, and kind of getting updates on what's going on. I ended up meeting him at the sites for both of them, and I have to say, Fremont Park is going to be like a dreamland for the kids of the city. As I've mentioned previously, I grew up playing at Fremont Park. I spent from the age of 10 till about 16, 17, almost every summer at Fremont Park for 8 to 10 hours a day. And the improvements and just how beautiful it looks, it's just amazing. I think I can't wait. I'm anxiously waiting for the grand opening of the park itself. I think Onik, you and your staff, and along with the Public Works, have done an amazing job. It's truly going to set us apart from every city, as it's like the Disneyland of parks. There's play areas for all kinds of kids, including the elderly with all the body weight equipment you guys have installed. I was told that hopefully if everything works out by the end of June, we should be ready to open up the park if everything falls in its place. I know it initially was slated for opening in April or late April, but so that was great. I love the speed that we're moving at, and I love the fact that there was so much thought and effort put into all the aspects of the park. And then with Pacific Park, given that we want more area, especially in the summer, for kids to play at, the water feature is really, especially south of Colorado. It's going to provide a great, fun atmosphere for kids. So good job on that. Thank you.
Thank you. We're very excited on both those projects. We hope that Fremont does open up end of June, hopefully early July, but we're aiming end of June. We are going to have a big bash that the staff is working on to celebrate the opening. It's basically a brand new park, brand new everything from A to Z. The only thing that's there is the 4 tennis courts, but everything A to Z is brand new. And Pacific, I believe end of April, mid-May, you'll have a brand new water feature, brand new restroom, as well as a new shade structure over the playground. So we're very excited on both those projects.
Next item.
President Sardarian, members of the commission, if I may, I do have one more announcement under staff comments. Just wanted to let you know and the public know that we have started and opened up the student ex officio commissioner process. So the flyers were created and posted in April, beginning of April. We updated our website, and the newsletter for the department and the city connections also already had the flyers, the advertisement. We've also started posting it on our social media weekly. We have sent out the flyers to colleges through platforms like College Central and Handshake. So there's about 13 institutions that are on there, including Glendale Community College, UCLA, USC, CSUN, and a few others. We have also sent the flyer to GUSD. Hopefully, the student ex officio current commissioners could let us know if they've already seen it advertised at their schools, but we have asked GUSD to send it out in their newsletters and share it with the high school principals, so that should have already gone out. We will be posting it on Nextdoor probably this week. Our city manager's office will help us post it on Nextdoor. And we plan to have the flyers in our newsletters and again on social media through May and June. The deadline to apply is June 13th, so we encourage all high school and college students who are eligible to apply. And we also did issue a press release on April 15th. So just wanted to let you know, and we'll probably be back here next month once we have a full commission to identify the commissioners that will help us through the selection process so that they are ready to go for the interviews in June and July. We wanted to make sure that we start the process a little earlier this year to make sure the students had enough time before graduation fund starts and summer begins. So hopefully we will have some good applicants, and we'll be able to start that process in late June and July as far as the interviews and the selection.
All right, just a quick question. When are we losing our great ones that we currently have?
So because we appointed the current ones in October, so it would be October. So
Okay.
October should be their last meeting, and then the new ones will get sworn in.
Also, I can confirm I have seen this on my Google Classrooms at school and in the counselor weekly newsletters. So it has been advertised.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I can also second that my school is heavily advertising it this year compared to last year, because our school now has one. I'm from Clark, and a lot more students are now aware, and they would like me to speak on behalf of the commission about anyone who would be interested. So it is being advertised well.
Perfect. Good to hear. Thank you.
And next item?
Next item is item 4, oral communications. We do have one card, Herbert Milano. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. The commission may question the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The director may refer the matter to the proper section for investigation and report. He also does have some handouts I'm going to pass out.
Thank you. Commissioner, President Sardabagian, Commissioners, my name is Herbert Milano. I have been an activist in Glendale for the better part of 25 years. And first of all, I want to commend you all for the potential future improvements of Fremont Park. That's where my children played. That's where I played tennis for many years. So it's heartwarming to see that kind of project in Glendale. I want to tell you a little bit of a story of my children, 3 of them that I raised here. They were graduates of Glendale High School, and then went on to the local colleges. I was a coach, a soccer coach of AYSO, Region 88, and my daughter played, and my son both played soccer. But I remember something particular, like all of the games for AYSO occurred north of the 134 freeway. Eventually, I got to know all of the parks, the different schools, the quality of the fields. Once in a while, as I tried to get some training time, I actually went to Fremont Park, and it was not possible for us to play there because the gopher holes were all over the place. So, and the same thing with some of the park area, or should I say the open green space of some of the schools in South Glendale. So I went to meet one of the council members who has a CPA, and when I mentioned to him and asked why the disparity, his answer to me was a question: where would we get the money? Well, I taught accounting for many years at the college level, and I decided, well, I'm going to take a look at the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, the CAFR, and see what it told me. And when I started looking at it, I was aghast at a particular number in one of the pages, and that is the page where the calculation of the pension system is recorded. And even though I went to talk to other council members concerning it, none of them really appreciated the level and the importance of that number. What I have done for you here in the document that I handed out to you, it may be a little bit arcane for some of you if you don't know accounting, but it is a shocking number, which is this, that in order for the city to be able to maintain its parks, in order to have sufficient funds for maintaining the roads and all the infrastructure, it needs to have money, because politics is who gets what, who gets the money that we receive. Well, on April 24th, which I'll remember this day for many reasons, besides the Armenian genocide, is that in less than 60 seconds, the city council passed the following ordinance, that they would give up to 90% of the last highest pay to every single police officer and firefighter. Not only that, they also made it retroactive 30 years. In those 60 seconds, which were not discussed, there was no comments made on it, the city gave away $1 million in extra pension benefits to each firefighter and policeman in Glendale. It lowered the retirement age to age 50 and up to 90%. So basically, they were getting a $3 million pension if they retired at 50 and lived to the age of 80. The impact of this is that without looking at a comparison throughout the years of comparing budgets, let's say if you were to take the budget of the Parks and Recreation throughout the last 20 years and compare that, for example, to the budget for the police budget or the firefighters budget, you're going to see a huge discrepancy. So what I'm doing is I'm asking you to look at what those numbers mean. This is a report in front of you that I requested through the California Public Records Act. You, as a citizen or as a resident, can ask for the city of information concerning their data. This is the report given to me. The only thing I did with this report is highlight in a shaded area. But right next to that, if we were to look back at 2004, the city was paying altogether $2 million in pension to CalPERS, the pension system. Today is about 10 times that, at least 10 times that amount. The debt that we have not paid on the CalPERS obligation is now exceeding $640 million. That's on the second column next to the gray area. My point is that it is my intent with this presentation to make you aware of the significant disparities that we have, not just between North and South with regard to parkland, but with regard to the lack of funding and why it is that we don't have sufficient funding to be able to afford proper park and open space in Glendale, why projects last 15 years before they come to fruition. And so it is my incentive here to have you look into these numbers and learn more about the CAFR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Molina.
We have no other callers.
No other cards, okay.
Next item.
Yes.
Item 5, consent items. The following are routine and may be acted upon by one motion. Any member of the commission or audience requesting separate consideration may do so by making such request before the motion is proposed. At 5A, we have approval of the minutes of the commission special meeting held on February 24th, 2025.
I can move it.
You weren't
Oh, right.
Isn't here.
We need all,
You weren't, Commissioner Alxar, you weren't here, so you
Right, so
wouldn't
we
be
need-
able to second it. So
Second.
President, okay.
but we need 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah.
I'll take roll call. Commissioner Alxar,
I will abstain.
Kalfayan,
Yes.
President Sardarbagian.
Yes.
Item 6, action items. At A, we have proposed fees for rental of Fremont Park amenities. At 1, we have a resolution establishing new fees for the rental of park amenities at Fremont Park and recommending that the Glendale City Council incorporate it into the comprehensive citywide fee schedule. The changes made to the CSP department-wide fee schedule effective May 21st, 2025. And we do have a presentation, and Gabrielle is here to present it.
Good afternoon, President Sardarbagian and members of the commission. I'm Gabrielle Golia, Community Services Manager with the Community Services and Parks Department. As you discussed earlier, Fremont Park is coming along. It is a gorgeous facility, and we're very excited to have it open this summer. In anticipation of opening it, we do have some fees before you today that we would like to establish in order to be able to rent out the soccer field, the community building, and the picnic shelters. So a quick look at our facility. We do have a community building. You probably can't see my little light here. There is a community building kind of in between those tennis courts. There are 4 picnic shelters, although we only want to rent out 3 of them. One we're just going to leave open as a first come, first serve picnic shelter. And then that nice multi-use soccer field that it's technically a multi-use field. I'm calling it soccer because we know that the majority of our users will be soccer, but it is a multi-use field, very similar in size to the Pacific Community Center multi-use field. So we are here recommending that you approve the fees and establish them, recommend to the City Council that they're established and added to the citywide fee schedule. So these are the proposed fees. What you'll see is 3 columns here. For each of the locations that we have a standard rate, and then included in this report, just for your purposes, are a nonprofit rate and a commercial rate. The citywide fee schedule doesn't actually specifically list the nonprofit and commercial rates. They just have a footnote that tells the customers and our residents what that discount would be if they are nonprofit or commercial, but we've listed them here for you in this report just so you can see what that equates to, so that you know what those discounts and those increases might be depending on the type of customer. A nonprofit customer would be anyone that is a 501c anything, any nonprofit organization. And then a commercial customer is primarily like a film company. This is a customer who is coming in and controlling the entire facility in order to make money off of it. Those are easy definitions for those. We are recommending that the Fremont multi-use field has a standard rate of $61 an hour on weekdays. This is weekdays before 6 p.m. And this rate is the same as the Pacific Community Center field. So we are matching all of our rates to other facilities that we have. We're not trying to change anything here. The nights and weekend rate, which is all nights, 6 p.m. and after, and all day on weekends, we are recommending $92 an hour. Again, the same fee as Pacific. The community building main room, our standard rate will be $60 an hour, and that is the same as Griffith Manor, since the building is very similar in size and amenities as Griffith Manor. That's the building that we are trying to match for pricing. And then we're recommending that the meeting room is $40 an hour. And that rate is, since Griffith Manor doesn't have a meeting room, we're looking at the Dunsmore small room for that rate. And then our picnic shelters, we are recommending $40 an hour, and that matches many of our picnic shelters, Casa Adobe and Duke Mage and that sort of thing. For nonprofits to use anything except the fields, there is a 50% discount. On fields, we have a 25% discount, and that's part of our sports reservation policy, or our field reservation policy. The 5-hour minimum that we do have on picnic shelters, which is a department policy, we will apply to this facility as well. So a customer can rent it. We'll only do 1 rental per day for picnic shelters. If a customer wants to stay after that, they can. There we go. Thank you, Teresa. Oh, I did, okay. We are anticipating that local community youth sports groups, local nonprofit sports organizations, and the general public will rent the multi-use field for soccer and other sports. We will use that field reservation policy that I referred to in order to determine the priority booking and field allocation. We do have a long wait list for customers already on that field. Everybody's interested in it. So we will go off of that policy and the method of choosing who's going to be able to use the fields in priority order based off of our policy. And then we are anticipating that the building will be rented for birthday parties, meetings. We always have little baby showers, that sort of thing in our buildings, and the same with the picnic shelters. For expenses, the overall expenses for Fremont Park, we are anticipating it's going to cost about $429,215 to operate this park. That includes all of the utilities for the park. That includes the gardeners. It's only hourly staff. There's no full-time staff that's going to be at this location. We're going to be operating it, doing the reservations for it out of the sports complex, since primarily they will be on the soccer field. And then the most revenue that we're anticipating is on the field itself. And then our customer service office will assist with the picnic shelters and the building rentals. So we are expecting about $203,000 in revenue from the multi-use field. Buildings will be about $24,000 in revenue, and then picnic shelter about $13,000 in revenue. And that is all that I have for our presentation on this. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
So my question's on obviously the nonprofit rate is a specific percentage off of what the total is, right? So how do we calculate the $61 rate, for example?
Whoops, sorry.
Oh, you had it there.
Teresa had it there already. So the $61 standard rate is the rate that we charge for Pacific Community Center. So we didn't go out and do a new study to establish that fee. We went ahead and matched it to what is the existing rate at Pacific Community Center for the multi-use field. So for the nonprofit discount on fields, based on our field reservation policy, it would be a 25% discount rounded to the nearest whole dollar. So that would go down to $46 an hour for the nonprofit groups, and then commercial is 150% of the standard rate, so it goes up to $92 an hour.
Okay, and then given the fact that, I mean, since we're not going to have staff there 24/7, how are you going to make sure that people aren't actually walking in there just using it without, paying the rental fees and stuff? And my fear is that within, a year, that field's going to turn into a mess. And I'd rather have, rates a little bit higher, given the fact that it's a brand new facility and everything's brand new on it.
Mm-hmm. President Sardarbagian, members of the commission, yes, we actually do have in this budget the salaries and benefits does include hourly staff to be there during all open hours. So there will be someone on site to be able to manage those reservations and check them in and out. And then built into it, we're also looking at having some time that's is free for the community to do first come, first serve, so that the community and the kids in that neighborhood have access to the field without paying for it. But when there are reservations and when we do have it booked out, the staff will be there to check people in and out and to monitor it.
Okay.
I had a question about this slide, actually, that we're seeing on the screen. Just to get a better understanding of the accounting and finance behind the decision of how much profit or not that we make for our public spaces. Is this normal for all of our parks to be generating a revenue that is at a deficit of the expenses?
President Sardarbagian, members of the commission, it is not unusual. We are not an enterprise operation where we bring in enough money to fully support all operations. So this is part of the general parks budget that is going to keep our parks and open spaces open to the community. So while we want to help offset some of the costs with the rental rates, the purpose is not to cover every single cost that we might have for operation. And since we're only renting out the picnic shelters, the building, and the field, we're not trying to cover the costs of the gardeners who are maintaining all of the park and open space and the shelters that aren't getting rented out and those pieces as well. So it's every park will vary a little bit. Some parks have no revenue sources coming in at all, while others have some. But we do not build our budgets in a way to completely cover all costs like an enterprise.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for that explanation. Yeah, I wanted to just understand what the logic was there, but also appreciate that we're keeping our prices affordable for the community. Do we, or has it ever been a problem with not being able to cover costs for maintenance or upkeep for our parks recently?
President Sardarbegian, members of the commission, Commissioner Alcazar, in general, obviously, based on the city's budget, there are years that we've had to take budget cuts and have to reduce programming. So, yes, historically, there have been years where it has been an issue. But in general, our operation has always been subsidized by the general fund in order to keep the costs low as far as the services or the rentals that we provide for the community. We did do, as part of a citywide fee study, we did include, the department's fees as part of last year's budget process. If you recall, City Council did review the fees, and the cost of our services and programs for most are higher than what we're charging, but because again we choose to subsidize, we do keep it lower. So whenever, depending on the city's budget and what we're looking at, we might need to revisit those fees and whether they should be increased to increase revenue or whether there are cuts that the department has to take in general. But those are always part of the larger budget discussions citywide. So in general, yes, there have been years where obviously because the revenue that we're bringing in is a lot lower than the costs to operate, the general fund is subsidizing. I don't know if Wenig wants to add anything else to that.
I think you covered, she covered most of it. Looking at next year's budget, there might be some cuts. We're not sure the percentage yet, but we have been asked, all the department heads have been asked to look at different types of programs, contractual services, and so on. So there might be some cuts coming for next fiscal year.
Okay, thank you for, again, explaining that. Yeah, we'll just have to keep an eye out and make those decisions when they come up. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the multi-fields, are we limiting our rentals into 1 hour only?
President Sardarbegian, members of the commission, no, it won't be limited to 1 hour. Our field reservation policy does allocate a certain number of hours per week citywide to groups that want to rent on fields in order to help distribute the time equally. So, once if they hit their, I think it's 11 hours per week of practice time on all of our fields cumulatively, then the next group in line can start grabbing time as well. So while it's not limited to 1 hour or 2 hours, we do look at all of the groups across all of the city fields to make sure our time is allocated to those kids equally based on their group status, meaning are they a local group, are they an approved community youth group like an AYSO or a Little League, or are they a non-local group? And so each of those tiers of groups will get time based on their group status.
Do we give them additional discount if they go into 3 hours or so?
President Sardarbegian and members of the commission, no. We don't, there are no discounts based on the number of hours they reserve. The field reservation policy does provide some additional discounts based on the type of group they are, but it's not based on whether they are doing 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of rental time.
So with our experience at the Pacific, like soccer field is reserved for how many hours per soccer teams that they come very often?
Typically groups reserve anywhere from 1 to 2 hours on an average evening, and then may want different nights throughout the week. But weekends could be a little bit longer if they have a number of teams that need to play games, because games go a little bit longer.
Thank you.
My question is how these rates are gonna be advertised except for contacting the city directly to rent it. Will there be any like signage regarding the rates? Because I'm not aware of any of our parks that post signage regarding fees to rent. Just that people would be more aware, and maybe that would reduce the amount of people using it without paying.
President Sargarbeki and members of the commission, absolutely. We are not posting specific fees at our parks. We do have a comprehensive signage packet that we're putting together for Fremont, and included in that are some QR codes that will lead to our website. That way, when the fees or rules or any other information is updated, we can update it once on the website, but we don't have to change out all of the expensive signs at the facility. So we can check and see if there's a way to link those fees through QR codes, and we'll look into that to see if we can make it easier. You're right that we don't typically advertise the fees at the facilities per se. However, they are available through brochures on the webpage, and we also have ways for residents to reserve the picnic shelters already online by themselves, and then inquire about the rates and see availability of our community buildings online.
Just to add to that, we do have signs that say that they do require a permit and need to make reservations. So that information is there for them to know that they can't just, they can't use it for free unless it's open to the public for public use. But just also wanted to note that the citywide fee schedule is also on the city's website in general. So at any point on any fees for the city, if anyone's interested to look up what the fees are, the actual citywide fee schedule is also on the finance website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no questions. I would like to move the resolution establishing new fees for the rental of park amenities at the Fremont Park.
Right, and I'll second.
I'll take roll. Commissioners Elksar,
Yes.
Kalfayan,
Yes.
President Sardarbakian.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item. Item 7, reports for information only. At A, we have Workforce Development Section Activity Report.
Good afternoon, President Sarbekian, members of the commission. My name is Judith Velasco. I oversee the workforce section in the Community Services and Parks Department. So I have a few updates I'd like to share. Before I share the updates that is in your report, I do want to share a little bit about the question asked earlier about from Commissioner Alcazar about our federal funds. So our section, the workforce section, is about 67% federally funded. And primarily we're funded under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which we call WIOA for short. WIOA was passed by Congress back in 2014 and has been in effect since that time. Prior to WIOA, there's always been workforce legislation that supports our system and funds the work out of the Verdugo Job Center here in the city of Glendale at 1255 South Central. Currently, with the different I would say this year with certain changes we've seen, we have not seen any indication as of today, I always say as of today, that federal funding will be cut for WIOA specifically. I'm sure you're aware in the news, they share a lot of the different departments, federal departments that have received cuts. The Department of Labor, out of all of them, have received the least amount of cuts. And I believe partly it's because the commitment to fund apprenticeship and economic stability and fund skills training programs to create a robust skilled economy. So that's what I've seen so far. With that being said, I always think things change at any given time. And currently, there is a continuing resolution that was passed till September. And currently what I have seen is that they are prioritizing different budget items. So based on the budget priorities, that may impact future funding. But also, there's always a possibility that current funding may be impacted to what's known as a rescission. So rescission allows Congress to use existing funds and make modifications. I have not heard of any rescission plans as of yet, but this is something that we are monitoring closely. We're also monitoring federal policy implications. I'm sure have you heard the impact of tariffs and how it impacts workforce specifically in the different industries. Recently, we had a workforce meeting where we have different industry experts on our workforce board, from manufacturing to technology to healthcare, and to try to determine, it's what we've been hearing is overall it's too soon to determine the impacts of employment, future openings. However, the indication is a lot of overall companies are holding off on new hires until there is definitive, I would say, policy determination on tariffs outside of China. And what I can share with you is, if we specifically look at China, one of our board members shared that certain computer manufacturing companies may halt the production of computers because most of the parts come from China. So these are things that in our section we look at on a regular basis, the labor market. We look at the inflation rate, unemployment rate, and things of that nature. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that, but I'll move forward to the report. So in light of that, we do have different opportunities for the public to learn about careers that are growing. And so this Wednesday, we have the Life Science Career Expo at our facility from 11 to 2 p.m. And it's the first time we've had a Life Science Career Expo. In previous meetings, I've spoken about our bio initiative, where we collaborate with local community colleges that have career technical programs in bioscience, primarily in biomanufacturing. We have partnered with Biocom California, which is an association that represents thousands of life science companies in California. Through this partnership, we're hosting the Life Science Career Fair at the Verdugo Job Center. We invite the public to attend. We have different life science employers there, as well as resources for people interested to learn more about life sciences careers. So it's both a combination of employers with openings as well as an overview of the industry. There is a lot, and when I say a lot, very more so than other industries, of entry-level positions in bio, specifically biomanufacturing. So we're very excited to host that. A couple of companies that will be there is Grifols Biological, that focuses on blood plasma to create different types of cures. So they're in the forefront of doing that. We have One Legacy, which is a company based out of Azusa that focuses on individuals who have committed to being organ donors, and then they mediate that process. So there's a lot of different companies you wouldn't think of as biomanufacturing, like Neutrogena, the manufacturing cosmetics. There's those opportunities. So in addition to that, we'll have the Verdugo Job Center represented, as well as the Biocom Institute Career Hub. So very excited, and we look forward to that event happening this Wednesday. I also wanted to share a couple other services out of the Verdugo Job Center. We are committed to helping those populations that have the most barriers to employment. So we have an early childhood education pre-apprenticeship program, which started a couple of years ago, but the new cohort started this year, February, and we enrolled 20 low-income individuals who are English language learners in early childhood education. So the thought process is that we give them the skill trainings they need to be teacher assistants and be employed by Head Start programs that are around Glendale, Pasadena, and the surrounding areas. So it's been a successful program, and on average, teacher assistants earn $17.28 an hour. But once they complete the training program, they complete the hours required, their salary increases gradually. So this is, again, a growth career for individuals who might have different barriers. We also have partnerships with the other local workforce boards. Verdugo Workforce is one of 7 in the Los Angeles area. So we work with them for grant opportunities to help barriered populations. So we have a program under the Regional Equity and Recovery Partnership Program, RERP, and I apologize, there's a lot of acronyms in our world. And the goal really is to expose individuals to high growth areas. Again, our focus with that particular grant is biotech industry, since it's a high growth. And individuals will take classes in biotech, and after they complete the certification exam, they get $3,600 in stipends for their participation, and then we then process employment opportunities for them. Recently, we received new funding from Los Angeles County to assist those impacted by the wildfires. Our funding is a small amount considering the amount that LA County received. We received $137,700 to serve 17 individuals who lost their jobs due to the wildfires. So we are currently working on a flyer to promote that to the public, to make sure that we are able to assist those who are impacted. There's different things we can use with the funding. One is to provide a supportive service. So if someone is in need of different resources that they no longer have due to the fires, we can pay for that. We're also looking at stipends and training programs for those impacted workers. So it's more of a customized approach based on the individual needs of those individuals who are impacted by the fires for employment. I'd also like to share that we continue to monitor companies that are laying off or closing, so that way we can offer our services in terms of reviewing unemployment insurance benefits and different opportunities for them. So as you may have heard, Joann Fabrics in Glendale is closing. They also have a facility in La Cañada, Flint Ridge, which is one of our cities. So we are trying our best to work directly with the leadership of Joann Fabrics to reach out to those impacted workers. Sometime when a layoff happens, employers might not be I would say, willing to let us speak to the impacted workers. So what we do instead is we send letters based on the information if they filed for unemployment insurance. So we have a partnership with the Employment Development Department. We have flyers, and they have a list where they can send our flyers to those who filed for unemployment insurance due to the plant closure in Joann Fabrics. So we're doing that. I also listed layoff that occurred in Burbank, Entertainment Partners, and also, as you probably read in the Glendale News Press, on March 22nd, there was notification of possible layoffs in Glendale Unified School District. So those impacted by the layoffs, school psychologists, secondary teachers, psychological service providers, as listed here. So anytime we see layoffs in our region, we're able to request additional funding to support those impacted workers with skills training or what other needs they have at that time. So these layoffs are important for us to monitor in order to ask for that funding if our current funding levels do not support those services. So rapid response is a very important function of what we do. So I always let people know, please let us know if you hear layoffs in the news, or sometimes our staff, when they're driving, they see a foreclosed sign. So as soon as we have that information, we go out in the community and we make contact, because our goal is to help those impacted workers. I also wanted to discuss different programs that the Glendale Youth Alliance offers. Currently, they're recruiting youth ages 14 to 24 for their upcoming summer youth employment program. We talked a little bit about summer brush clearance. The younger youth in this program, it's for those who've never worked before. They will clear the brush, and it's tough work, but they learn the responsibilities of getting to work on time and really what it takes to make a dollar. So it's a really great program. All youth will receive 160 hours of paid work experience, training, case management. So anybody interested, you can go to GlendaleYouthAlliance.com. Glendale Youth Alliance was also awarded $28,040 to the Homeless Housing Assistance Prevention Grant. So this allows them to provide housing vouchers for homeless youth. They will also be hosting 2 fundraising events, the golf tournament, which is this coming Monday, April 28th, at Brookside Golf Club in Pasadena. And they're also part of the Glendale Kiwanis Incredible Duck Splash fundraiser. So where 50% of all duck sales will go back to GYA. So that's my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Yeah, next
At
item.
7B, we have Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for January 25th and February 25th. And we do have 1 speaker card after the presentation.
President Sardabagian, members of commission. Today I have a number of projects to present to you. We do have quite a few pictures, but I can race through a few of them. I kept a lot because I'm really proud of what the guys have been doing. They did some beautiful work. They take great pride. So I really wanted to show you that. We had a number of quite a few work orders for non-routine work. A lot of that in January is reflected by the windstorm cleanup. So that's in your packet. I'll go to the projects. This one I'm particularly proud of. After the windstorms, there was quite a bit of debris that came down here at the Catalina Verdugo adobe. And we also had, then we had the rains, which it contributed to a bunch of erosion on the trail. And we had one employee, Jose Nuno, a longtime employee, who took it upon himself to really go in. And there is a hiking trail there. It's very short, but there is a hiking trail. And that's part of it. And he went in and really just cleaned it up. I mean, there was, some of those steps weren't even visible due to the amount of erosion and debris. And he just went in and just did the guy's a trail worker. So I did have quite a few pictures of this just because I thought his work was so spectacular. And he took that upon himself to do that by himself. He didn't have any help. And at Pacific Park, we did redo a number of ball field infields during this period here. So we took pictures of and overseeding of the turf. So the Pacific ball field, that's a new mound that they had rebuilt already for the baseball season. They got this done right before baseball season so that it couldn't get damaged by casual play if there was any. And I thought they did a wonderful job on that. You can see the mound just ready for the Little League season to start up there. And at the same thing at the Shoal Canyon baseball field number 3, that's for the Little League. They rebuilt that mound completely. And so they were given specific dimensions by the Little League that they requested. And so the guys went out and shot elevations to make sure that was done properly and actually communicated with them quite a bit to get it done. Again, ready for the season. This one, there's a lot of pictures. The guys had rebuilt that bridge, which was about 20 years old. We built that out of scrap wood from the Adult Recreation Center. And so it was time to rebuild it and re-engineer it, as a matter of fact. So here is, we actually drained the pond to get this done so we could put 3, that one had 2 support beams. We were bending these for about a year to get the proper arc on these beams. And so we did 3 instead of just the 2 on the outside, which will give it added strength. And then we also added, well, it's difficult to see, but we added a pillar in the middle with the support beam so that the bridge will be very much supported. And that's Kinney in there attaching the one of the longer curved beams to the support beam on the middle. They poured a concrete pillar into the pond and anchored it, built a footing for it. This thing, oops, well, that was it covered. But there are the guys, they were filling all the holes so that the screw holes from attaching the planks that are going to be walked on. And you can see that support beam, it's a very hefty beam. And so this thing is sturdy. And then they got to choose the colors because I'm colorblind. So they chose a red bridge, which there was we checked in with the Friends of Shosayan, the Japanese group that uses it, and they gave us the go-ahead that there is precedent for that in Japan for having a red bridge with the black supports. But they did take their time. They built footings for the ends of the bridge and for the pillar in the middle. And there they are doing the finish painting on the red. And they also water sealed the ends of the support beams. That's the red again. More of that. And these are the decorative elements sort of with the railings on the side and then the end posts that we made. And that's them attaching everything. Oops. That's Paco, and they're attaching the beams to the footing that is on the outside of the pond. There's the guys attaching the decorative end posts. Getting it all ready. And then that is the finished product before they filled the pond. They love it. I think it came out really nice. The color makes it really stand out. Like I said, there is precedent, and there's a Japanese temple that's well known for its red bridge. That's more of their working on the railings. I'm having trouble with this thing. And that's the finished product before they filled the pond, and that's after. I think that's the last picture. But that's how the bridge came out, and it does look spectacular. It did a great job, and it is very, very sturdy. So very happy with the finished product and very proud of Jesus and Paco and his team for all the work they did on this. Oh, that's the last one. And then at Glendale Heritage Garden, we were having some issues. There was some rosemary planted along the parkway strip, and there's a lot of parking that people park on the street there quite a bit, and it was kind of difficult for them to get in and out of their cars. And it was also gathering trash. We were getting a lot of found cell phones and watches and trash in there. So we decided to take that out to allow the neighborhood to be able to park there. And we're going to put decomposed granite in the parkway to allow percolation of the water for the street trees. And this is them removing and grading out the parkway using equipment to speed the process. And then at Lower Shoal Canyon, we were dealing with this is a drainage issue where we have water that comes down that really no one even knows where it comes from, but it drains year round. And because of the constant water coming down, it has a habit of damaging the parking lot and creating a safety hazard. So the guys went in and we put a drain box in to gather the water and then take it to the debris basin, which is right on the south side of the lower parking lot at Lower Shoal. That's the drain box. It's large to accommodate the amount of water. And then in the winter, when we get more and there is debris that comes down, we'll be able to gather more and be able to clean that out pretty easily. And cars could drive over that as well. So, and then they backfilled the trench with gravel so that Public Works is next on track for this. They're going to go in and redo the asphalt and some concrete there, so that we'll have a fresh new parking, well, not completely fresh, but where the work, you won't even be able to tell we did it. And I like these drainage projects because they really do create, we have potential safety hazards there, and by doing that, it helps to eliminate any safety hazards. And there's the guys backfilling the trench, making sure that's compacted well enough to, when the asphalt gets laid down, there won't be any settling issues. And the box again. And then in the Montrose Shopping Park, there was an area where we had tree removal and tree planting by Public Works, and over time, and we went ahead and replanted that area. It was kind of barren from a number of issues, and so we went in and redid it to match the rest of the shopping park. And there's the guys planting right there. Everything's in bloom right now, so it looks really nice. There's the Graphiolepis in the front. There's a number of pictures of them with the finished product. That's them watering it in. And our contractor had repaired the irrigation prior to them doing that, so the project, I think, came out very nice. And the shop owners were very, very happy about this. And that is it. That was all the projects I had for you. If there's any questions or comments anyone has?
I do have a question. I thank you for your presentation. I know we skip them sometimes, so it's always nice when we take the time to go through all of the hard work that our staff does, and to keep our city beautiful and functioning. I wanted to go back to the bridge really quick. I appreciate that. You did the cultural confirmation check to make sure that the color was appropriate for the location. It looks great, and also it seems like a lot of attention to detail and craftsmanship were put into it. So that's amazing. I did want to highlight that I could just see the ends of the bridge, and it looks like it's a step to get to the bridge.
It is a step up, yeah.
So I was wondering if that might be an accessibility issue,
Well,
or if that's something we can address.
as far as, yeah, well, the original bridge did have a step up as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's about the same. It's, approximately 7 inches as a step up. And so it is the same elevation as it had been before. We didn't change anything. Really, the length is the same, the curve is the same, and then the step up is the same. So it's not something that someone's going to trip over when they go up there.
Okay.
Because they had actually built it up a little bit and had, there's a rock used as a step to get onto it.
I see. It also looks wide, so if you're stepping up on it and you need to grab something, I'm just wondering if that is something we need to address or could address, or do we have the potential to address?
Yeah, we do
in
have the
another
potential.
phase?
That
Okay.
it was based on the original, which went off a design that we had worked with the Friends of Chaussien on from the original bridge, but it could, the little end posts, they are short, but they're bigger than the last ones, because, they're 18 inches. But yes, it is definitely something we could address, but they were going for sort of a lower design on that.
Gotcha. Okay, so then maybe if it sounds like you worked with them very closely
Yes.
and they approved the design,
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely check in with them to see if that's
Yeah.
something that they were interested in or not.
Absolutely.
Just with any of our improvements, I think there's room for opportunity of improving the design or, making it more accessible. And so that's why I wanted to raise it. Okay, I don't know if it's because it's red and black and I am a GHS alumni. And so this triggered an idea for me. I'm just going to put it out there, but GHS does have a woodwork and carpentry program.
Yes, they do.
That is great, and it's been there for years. And so I was, again, throwing it out there. If we ever have opportunities to collaborate with them and their students on other kind of woodworking projects that we do. I would love to see that.
As a matter of fact, now that you bring that up, my son went through that program.
Oh,
He went
great.
through the construction academy at Glendale High School.
Okay.
And we are working with a member of the community who was working with in the construction academy. They built us a bench it's going to Brand Park at the Miss American Green Cross Trailhead. And your timing is amazing because he just finished. And so he's finishing right now. And he just contacted me yesterday, I think, that he wanted to find out, he's almost done, and he wanted to contact me about delivery. So it's funny you bring that up. We just have been doing that. So,
Love that. Love the serendipity of the idea and that it's actually happening. And also because, we've also talked about trying to find different creative designs for our benches. So that's amazing. I'm really happy to hear that you're working with them.
I will bring pictures of it when we do get it delivered. We're going to go ahead and do the installation, but he's going to deliver it to me. So I'll have our crew do the installation of that. So I will definitely show you that.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a speaker, Mr. Milano.
Mr. Milano, if you could please state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Herbert Molano, Commission President and Commissioners. I want to address the reports that I went through earlier this week. I think it's very commendable for transparency purposes to actually highlight or identify all of the different work orders that go into maintaining the Parks Department. And I was able to see clearly what happened in January and all the work orders that you had, and then compared to February, which is much less. But what I wanted to do is to make a suggestion, especially for our student commissioners who are in a way being trained to look at information that is relevant. And I don't know if you're taking classes in economics in your senior year, but I would love to see that. And here's the reason, that there are metrics that maybe we should present on a monthly basis for them to be able to compare what has transpired. For example, there are certain expectations nationwide, certain rules which have to do with how much park space there should be according to the population. So in a well-run city, you should have roughly about 6 to 10 acres per 1,000 people. And that measure should actually be represented across the city, and it isn't, right? We have a deficiency, particularly in South Glendale. There's another rule that says that you should have a neighborhood park within a 10-minute walking distance. So imagine that you lived in this building and you wanted to walk to a neighborhood park. Well, you have to define what a neighborhood park is, right? The size of the park. Do you have one within 10-minute walking distance from here? The answer is no. You do not have a neighborhood park within 10-minute walking distance. What is the size of the population that does not have that in Glendale? And I would suggest to you that there are tens of thousands of children who do not have a park within a 10-minute walking distance. So learning what the expectations are, the normal measures that the nation runs by, and then compare it to Glendale, you'll be able to highlight the deficiencies that we have. So earlier this afternoon, I was explaining to you with regard to the funding and the financing and the trends. But I think this gives us a chance to maybe do a drill down with regard to who are the underserved people in Glendale, where do they live, and what are the measures. It's part of the, I think in your role in this commission should be to read the planning, open space and parks element for the city of Glendale, to look at the reports that were done in 1998 with regard to the deficiencies in parkland. And so you have a sense of perspective as to what your role may be on a larger scale. Anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Milano. Do we have any callers?
No calls.
Thank you.
President, Sardar Reagan, members of the commission, I just want to point out one thing. About a year and a half ago, the commission approved us to issue an RFP to update the open space recreation element. So I'm happy to say within the next month or so, we will be going to council taking a report to approve a contract with one of the vendors that we had interviewed. It's going to be an 18-month to 24-month process. So we will be updating our recreation element as well as the open space conservation element, which is good news because it has been updated for over 20 years.
Thank you.
So we are working on that. We're going to have a number of community meetings. They have a very active public outreach approach, the group that we're going to go with. So we're very excited to start that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 7C, Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report for February and March.
Good afternoon again. I will go through this quickly since we have 2 months worth of information, so I'm just going to hop right through it. On March 29th, we had our Cesar Chavez commemorative event. It was very well attended. Over 500 people came out. We had city council, we had elected officials. Very successful and wonderful event. The One Glendale after-school youth sports program concluded their season for basketball with games on March 7th, and the Marshall Tigers took first place over Horace Mann Bulldogs. The LA Regional Food Bank collection continues. Our last one, we had one on February and then one in March. In February, there were 121 food kits distributed, and March, it was 127. For Trails and Open Space, we had 4 Trails and Open Space programs in February and 5 programs in March. We did return after the fires. Let's see. It doesn't want to go. Oops. Stone Barn Nature Center, Wander the Wilderness, and the Bus and the Go program. In February, we had 915 guests visiting the facility during the 12 days it was open, and in March, a whopping 1,458 people visited the barn. In asking people why they were coming to visit us in March, we did hear a lot of people saying they used to go to Eaton Canyon, and now they're coming up to Deukmejian. So we are seeing an impact from the Eaton Canyon fire up at Deukmejian, especially with parking. Weekend parking is a little challenging, but it is very, very popular. And we had our monthly Go program in February on the 15th, and the March program was on March 15th. Participants learned about endangered toads, condors, and rats at one of the event, and then at the March event, they learned about the California mule deer. And we are continuing to do field trips up there. We are providing buses through our grant program, which is also supporting the Wander the Wilderness bus. We had over 300 youth come and visit for field trips in February and March. So the field trip program is really popular, and we're getting a lot of kids from Glendale up there. For Youth and Family Services, mentoring in the middle school, this is a partnership between Glendale Youth and Family Services, Hominidmen Ararat, and GUSD. The program met multiple times in both February and March, and they provide direction and guidance to kids as part of the emerging language learners in the middle school programs. Teen Night Out and Work Nights. Teen Night Out and Workshops, I apologize. They're hosted at Pacific Community Center, and we had activities including movies, basketball, Valentine's Day activities, St. Patrick's Day activities, and they assisted with the One Glendale Championship games. They meet every Friday. The STAR program embraces, all these kids embrace the program with energy and determination. This past 2 months, they went to AMC for a movie. They got some in and out that night. They had Valentine's and St. Patrick's Day activities. They did their typical journaling on a topic during the weeks that they're at the Pacific Community Center. And then they helped to make some Cesar Chavez event posters. Therapeutic recreation, we had both some Maple Inclusive Playdates and Club Maple activities during February and March. Maple Inclusive Playday was on the 15th of both February and March. And then Club Maple had a karaoke night and a bingo night. Karaoke had 71 participants, very popular. And then bingo night had more, with 74. So they love the activities. Senior programs and events. We wanted to highlight some of the educational and holiday events that we had with our senior programs at SPAR and the Adult Recreation Center. They had multiple events, including a SPAR Hearts Gathering, CV High School Sending Sunshine, so the high schoolers worked with the seniors and sent sunshine gifts to them, letters and information. LA Metro Senior Tap presentation. They had a movie matinee at the Adult Recreation Center. We had nutrition classes on food groups and artificial sugars. Forest Lawn came in and helped with giving information on 4 points of protection for peace of mind. And then there's an Alzheimer's Association presentation that's been going on where they've been presenting, and we have another one coming up. So they come out and they talk about the warning signs of Alzheimer's and how to work with it. And then all the holiday celebrations. So we had Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras, and St. Patrick's Day lunch celebrations. The Elderly Nutritional Program, in February, we served 3,435 congregate meals, and there were 1,645 home-delivered meals. And then in March, it was 4,072 congregate meals and 1,764 home-delivered meals. Supportive services programs, we had 55 unduplicated clients enrolled in February, and then 57 unduplicated clients enrolled in March. There is an update with the senior needs assessment. The committee met on March 26th, and draft number 3 of the senior needs assessment was approved. So I believe Onig mentioned that we are going to council for approval on that on May 6th. And then the LA County Aging and Disabilities Department, we received communication in late March that we'll receive an allocation of $58,400 in funding from the Older Americans Act, and council approved that funding on April 15th. So that will allow for an additional 7,113 home-delivered meals, along with the staff support and general supplies through the end of this fiscal year. Our upcoming programs and events. So on tomorrow, April 22nd, we have another LA Regional Food Bank, as well as May 27th at the ARC. The LA Life Science Career Expo that Judith mentioned, that's going to be on April 23rd at the Verdugo Job Center. Parents Night Out at Pacific Community Center, April 25th. It's not working. Oh, there we go. Teen Night Out at ArtSoc. Whoops. No, went too far. Friday, April 25th. So instead of at Pacific Community Center, they will be down at ArtSoc, and they can enjoy some of the businesses down there. Wander the Wilderness Bus. This is our weekly program, Saturdays and Sundays. One Saturday one week, and then Sunday the following week. So our next one is on April 26th, and then continues in May. We have the GYI Charity Golf Tournament. Monday, April 28th, and that is at Brookside Golf Club in Pasadena, supporting our Glendale Youth Alliance program here. CDBG Community Meeting. This is on April 30th at the Adult Recreation Center. Teen Night Out. The next Teen Night Out is going to be May 2nd. They are every Friday at Pacific Community Center. Friday Night Lecture, Rock This Park. This is a geology hike on Saturday, May 3rd at Duke Meajian Wilderness Park. The Verdugo Mountains 10K Trail Run and Hike is coming May 4th. We would like to invite all of you to please come and join us there. You should be receiving something from Iris as well, but we would love to have you out at the event. We are hoping to have over 300 runners this year at the event. Glendale Outdoors, the Community Go program, that's going to be on May 10th at Duke Meajian Wilderness Park. Riverwalk is going to be on May 10th also at Duke Meajian. We have a nature journaling program that we've begun. A woman who used to do this nature journaling program as a volunteer over in Eaton Park has now joined us over at Duke Meajian. So she's meeting with participants. They do one workshop, and then they meet up once a month in order to walk around and work as a team to kind of bounce ideas off each other and then do their journaling. I don't think this is working, Teresa, sorry.
It takes time.
Okay. Senior Street Festival, our big, wonderful senior event, is taking place in Parcher Plaza on May 15th. I would also like to invite you, please, to come out to that. This is a wonderful event, and staff are putting it on for all of our seniors in the area. So that's at City Hall here out in the plaza on the 15th. Okay, Glendale, the One Glendale Soccer Championship. We just finished basketball, now it's soccer. We are going to be finishing that up and having the championship game on May 16th. This is the the third installment of the Alzheimer Education Series, and it's going to be on May 16th at the Adult Recreation Center. Glendale Dodger Night. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, we do encourage you to please buy your tickets online for the Glendale Dodger Night. This is to support the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation. Tickets can be purchased at glendaleparksfoundation.org. It is a Friday night game, and we get to see the drone show afterwards, so that's a lot of fun. Wilderness Workday is on May 17th at Duke-Majan Wilderness Park. Maple Inclusive, Playdate. Maple Inclusive Playday is at Maple Park, and that's on Saturday, May 17th, and that brings us to the end of the month before our next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I may, I actually had a chance to speak at the Mentoring in Middle Schools program. John, I'm trying to pronounce his name, Marugian, I believe. Our community services supervisor had invited me to go out there and speak to the kids, and it's an exceptional program. I think, the members of the classroom were, they all kind of need hope and need kind of a door or an avenue on, how to reach the next level. And I think that, programs like this do go far in helping kids dream beyond what's just in front of them. So I think he does an exceptional program. I already love the One Glendale sports stuff that we do, but getting a chance to speak to the middle school kids is not only an exciting opportunity for me, but just to kind of see them and some of the questions they have. And, it's a great program. So I commend John and the entire staff for putting that together.
Thank you. John and his team do great work with the youth family program as well as One Glendale. We're lucky to have those programs. And if anyone is interested, any of the commissioners are interested in mentoring the next go around, please let John know, let myself know. We all started work. I remember when I was in LA with the Summer Youth Employment Training Program, that's how I started, 33 years ago, and now I'm here. So hopefully the new generation will eventually, come work for Glendale and, take over our positions in the next few years. So thank you for helping John and staff out.
And you have any? And before we adjourn today's meeting, I'd like to take a second to personally thank Aura. This may be his last meeting if the new commissioner, his replacement, is sworn in before the May meeting. Aura, you've been part of the Parks and Recs Commission how many years now? I'm trying to remember the total. But
about 10 years.
But it goes beyond the number of years. I think you were a mentor. I remember watching you years ago before I was ever brought to the commission myself. And not only do you bring a lot of insight, but you always seem to find a way to kind of look at every single decision in many different ways. You don't have a singular view on anything. I think you look at it as a member of the community. You look at it as a business owner. You look at it as a parent, a grandparent, and you've been a great mentor. You've been a great leader. So I really, really appreciate every second, every minute, every hour you've spent helping the city of Glendale. And thank you.
I'm not going to say anything. I hope I'll be back, but when I really retire, I'll let you know. Thank you.
I think we're done.
Next item is adjournment.
We're adjourning at 4:05 p.m. Thank you.